Hi everyone, I'm Iona and today I'm going to do a video that I didn't actually think I'd ever do. I'm going to talk to you about my epilepsy, and as you can see by the title, I'm going to talk to you about my epilepsy and what it's like having it in Japan and kind of going to the doctors, traveling to Japan, medications, all that kind of stuff. So if you yourself have epilepsy, or someone you know, someone you love, or you're just interested about epilepsy, I hope this video can be useful to you and answer some questions. Okay, so first I have some notes here just to kind of help me, because there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about. This video is going to have either 3 or 4 kind of parts. The first part, I'm going to introduce kind of myself and my epilepsy history, the medications I've taken and the ones that I currently take. The second part is going to be about traveling to Japan when you have epilepsy. The third part is going to be about living in Japan, seeing a doctor, and the fourth part is going to be kind of a comparison of the UK. I'm from Scotland in the UK, as you can probably tell by my accent, and Japan. So we're going to compare those two, and I'm going to kind of give you my final thoughts. Okay, so let me kind of talk a little bit about myself and my epilepsy. So I'm 28 years old. I was diagnosed with juvenile myoclonic epilepsy when I was 18 years old, so it's my 10-year anniversary. I have tonic-clonic seizures, which some people call grand mal seizures. I also have what my neurologist has called absent seizures, kind of with my eyes, like my eyes flutter quite heavily. Now, I've taken a variety of different medications in the past. I've taken lamotrigine, Keppra, and now I'm currently on sodium valproate. I have been seizure free. I'm very lucky for this. I've been seizure free for possibly over 4 years now. But despite that, I don't drive, just because my absent seizures and the stuff regarding my eyes, I just don't feel like driving, to be honest. Let's talk about traveling to Japan with epilepsy. So there's only been one time that I visited Japan pre-epilepsy. All other times I visited Japan before moving, I've had epilepsy and therefore had to bring along my medication with me. Now, I talked to you a little bit earlier about the type of medication I've took. I've never had a problem with any of this medication being banned in Japan. I know that some medications are, but the number one piece of advice that I can give you that is really, really important is looking at whether you need a kind of certificate to take your medication into Japan. I think every single time I've been to Japan in the past, I've taken something called a yakan shomei, and this is like a medical certification that I've had to apply for. Now, it was completely free. A yakan shomei, I don't remember exactly if it's limited to a certain amount of time, and if you go over that amount of time, if you need a different sort of certification, but this is a good thing to check. You can check the embassy websites very easily to see whether this is necessary for you and your medicine. Let's talk about living in Japan now. So I've lived in Japan for a few years. The first time I lived in Japan was on a working holiday visa, which was for 1 year. And during that time, I didn't actually have a neurologist. I didn't see anyone about my epilepsy in Japan because I was able to take enough medication to Japan to cover a couple months, and then I was able to receive medication from the UK from my parents. So I hadn't experienced a kind of neurologist until this time when I moved to Japan. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Before I got a neurologist in Japan, I was quite worried. I had quite a negative impression of Japanese GPs, general practitioners, because in the past when I'd been to a clinic, or when I'd been to clinics, sorry, I just got a negative impression. I just didn't have a good time. So, you know, when you need a neurologist or you have a more specific problem, it's something serious like epilepsy, you want to make sure that you have a neurologist that you feel like you can, you know, like be open with, and someone who cares about you, and someone who isn't just trying to get you in the office, ask a few questions and then get you out. So I was really, really wary about it, to be honest. I found a good GP, and they referred me to a really nice hospital in Japan. It's like a public hospital, I would say. So they take national insurance, and I've had 3 neurologists at this hospital, and all of them have been very, very good, actually. Now, in my case, I speak Japanese, but I don't know a lot of like medical language, so it is quite difficult. I know obviously things, like I know some words about epilepsy and stuff like this, but it can be really, really tough and quite daunting. So the first couple times I went to this hospital, they gave me a translator, and I had to wait a little bit longer for the translator, but I never had to pay for them. And the translator was very good, very, very skilled. It was actually a wonderful experience that I had. So I wanted to kind of tell you guys that, because whether you live in Japan, whether you're visiting and you need to go to a hospital, there are translators. I can't speak for all hospitals, but from what I've experienced, it's always been very positive, and I feel like it would be easy to get the service and support that you need. So about my hospital visits, I go every 3 months, and I do a basic checkup with the doctor, and they don't do any tests, it's like a verbal checkup, how you're doing, etc. I book the next appointment, and they give me a prescription for 3 months, 90 days. Now, like I said, I go to a kind of public hospital where I can use Japanese national health insurance. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but national health insurance, I'm pretty sure it covers over half of the bill. So I actually think it covers 70% of the bill, and that remaining 30% you pay yourself. So for my consultation and for my prescription, so that's 90 days of sodium valproate tablets, I pay under 5,000 yen, which is, I would say, like 20 to 25 pounds. So I think that's pretty good. Now in Scotland, this is one difference, we don't pay for prescriptions. I'm pretty sure. I've not had a prescription in Scotland for a really long time. So again, please correct me if I'm wrong. So it is different, but it's a nice affordable price, and it's quite accessible. Let's talk about the differences now between Scotland and Japan. Now, both have national health services. As I said, Japan doesn't cover it fully, but it's still a pretty good price. Scotland covers it fully, including prescriptions. The second thing, now this is an interesting thing for me, maybe not so interesting for you guys, but in Scotland, when I was having seizures, if I was on a kind of anti-epileptic drug and I was still having seizures, my neurologist would say, okay, let's just change you to another one. And obviously it wasn't willy-nilly, it was like well thought through and it was structured, but their kind of idea was that if you're having seizures, the medicine's not working, right? I got put on Keppra because lamotrigine was like that, and I was on Keppra for a couple of years, and it was really good, and I was seizure free, but I still had problems with my eyes, but it was fine, it was manageable. After I had a seizure on Keppra, they said, okay, let's get you on to sodium valproate, and I'm very happy to say that I've been on sodium valproate for 4, maybe 5 years now, possibly longer, and I haven't had a seizure since, and it's been going really well. After switching to sodium valproate, this happened in the UK after my working holiday visa in Japan. I moved to Australia, And Australia, you know, they asked me, oh, do you want to do a blood test just to see your sodium valproate's working okay and it's not causing issues in your body? I actually declined this, which is silly to be honest, but I did. And in Japan, they asked me the same thing, do you want to do a blood test? And I declined it again. Since then, I have taken it, but I thought that was quite interesting that in the UK, they never really, I don't know, other epileptics are in the UK can maybe let me know if you have experienced the same thing as me, or if actually your doctor has taken your blood regularly to check, but they never offered or tried to check mine. Now, another thing that's different is that if you take sodium valproate in the UK, you and you're a woman, you need to be on birth control, or I had to be on birth control, and I had to sign something as well to say that, like, if I take this medication, I must be on birth control. So that was fine for me because I was already on birth control. I have been using IUDs for a number of years now. I'm actually on my third IUD, which I recently got placed in Japan. Now, in the UK, because epileptics or people taking sodium valproate need to be on birth control, usually you can get a neurologist referral to get birth control, and that's what I've used in the past. So even though on the National Health Service it is free in Scotland to get it done, I'm not sure about England, Northern Ireland and Wales, I can't speak about those countries, but you know, you can get a referral and it's very fast and it's done well. In Japan, recently I had to get a replacement because, you know, your IUD is kind of valid, I guess, for 5 to 10 years, and mine was expiring, so it was time for a new one because I'm still taking sodium valproate. I went to my doctor and I went to my neurologist, sorry, and I asked if I could get a referral or not, because the prices of getting an IUD in Japan are outrageous. It's anywhere from probably 50 to 60,000 yen to 80,000 yen, and I have seen ones that are more expensive, and that is just absolutely crazy, especially because I have to be on birth control because of the medication that I take. Now in Japan, I haven't had to sign any form or anything like that saying that I will not get pregnant, etc., and that I will be on birth control. But everybody knows the dangers of this medicine. So I talked to my neurologist, and my neurologist understood what I was saying, but unfortunately said that in Japan they can't offer a referral like that, and it's really just the case of, like, take care and don't get pregnant. So, you know, that is one difference which I noticed that was not so good, I would say. One thing that I want to say about Japan that I really love is that in the UK it is, in my experience, a nightmare to get appointments. It's just a nightmare rescheduling, it's a nightmare getting in contact with people, and when you have a illness or a condition or an injury and you need to speak to someone, it can be very distressing. In Japan, I've always found it very accessible and very easy to get in contact with people or see people or make same-day appointments. Obviously, at a hospital, same-day appointment could be a little bit tough, but I have always found it quite good. So my kind of final thought on being epileptic in Japan is that I want to be honest with you guys, as I've said earlier in this video, I've not had a seizure for a number of years now, and I'm very lucky to be seizure free and stable on this medication. But still, I feel very lucky to be in Japan and have all these great services. I've got a neurologist who cares, I've got a hospital that can help me with language services and stuff like this. It's quick and easy to get appointments or to get a medication. It's easy to contact kind of the government if you're traveling to Japan and you are wanting to know about whether you need a certification like a Yakan Shomei. I feel overall very lucky, very safe, very comfortable being epileptic and living in Japan, but I know for others who maybe are still actively having seizures, it could be different for them. So this video is just my experience, but I hope it has been useful for you. I hope I haven't rambled too much. If there is something that you are wondering about, you know, I've told you, I've been honest about being epileptic, so I'm happy to answer some questions. So please leave a comment. I'll do my best to kind of give you my experience and let you know what I kind of think or if I have any advice. So thank you so much, guys. Have a good day. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you later. Bye.